Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Guys, slow down a minute. What's your hurry?
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, The Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, best-selling author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Ever get in a hurry? My wife of 37 years, Susan, accuses me all the time of being in a hurry. Whether it's the speed at which I enjoy playing golf, the way I drive on the highway, opening personal mail, cleaning the kitchen, or getting in a hurry when making decisions on major purchases and investments. I'd say if we're honest with ourselves, we can all tend to get in a hurry. Now here's the problem when you're in a hurry. It can cost you dearly, especially when it comes to you, your money, your family, and of course your retirement. You see, getting in a hurry can create mistakes and blunders that might have been easily avoided had you just slowed down. That's why today, and for the next week or so, we're going to talk about the biggest financial mistakes people make with their money as a result of being in a hurry, and how by slowing down and taking stock of what you've got and how to properly plan for the future can help you easily avoid costly mistakes. Well, welcome folks to the Worry-Free Retirement. And before I get in a hurry and forget, let me slow down to introduce the producer of the Worry-Free Retirement, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with his two sidekicks, Technical Director Derek Hudson and Research Assistant Miss Amelia Johnson. Okay, let's set the stage. You're 55, 60, 65 years of age. You've been working for the same company in the same job for 30, 40 years, and you've been pouring money like there's no tomorrow into your 401k when all of a sudden you find yourself wondering if there is any way you can retire or at least cut back on work. Burned out and worn out, you're ready to just slow down and start enjoying the fruits of your labor. But you've got a problem. How are you going to take this 401k that you've so faithfully contributed to all these years and turn it into a consistent and safe income that's going to last as long as you do? Well, you've only got two choices when it comes to your 401k in retirement. First, do nothing and just leave that 401k at your current or former employer, which is not a plan at all. Or second, you could rush out, get in a hurry, and blindly roll over your 401k plan to a complete stranger or a money manager who really doesn't understand anything about retirement planning. To which I would say, just slow down, because regardless of whether you are already retired or thinking of retiring soon, there's a lot of major decisions you will need to consider besides just the decision of where to invest your 401k plan. For instance, how much risk do you continue to take with your money after you retire? How much in taxes are you going to have to pay when you go to draw that money out? How much in taxes will your kids owe on the money when you die? When should you start drawing Social Security? How do you invest your money so that you won't one day run out? And assuming you have debt, should you use some of that 401k to pay off your home or other debts? And then finally, whether to take your pension as a lump sum or in monthly installment. The list of decisions that will require slowing down and thinking through them will continue long into retirement. So, when I return, we're going to focus on the biggest blunders people make with their 401k as a result of getting into a hurry, and also the secret sauce to using and enjoying your money while you still can without the fear of running out. You stay tuned. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
at age 60, my husband's 62, so what percent of my 401k should I put into an annuity for what you call mailbox money? And what percent kept in the market to continue to try to get gains?
Yeah, so a lot of people tend to be one or the other. They either try to invest a lot of money in annuities or they tell you to put all your money in the stock market. We're kind of unique. We know about both sides of the aisle. We're very, very experienced in annuities, and I've been a registered investment advisor for years. We've used the stock market for years. In fact, we have something called our split IRA concept. So what happens is somebody gets ready to retire, or they're nearing retirement. They roll the 401k over to Tony Walker Financial, and then through my experience, I sit down personally with them and we determine what percentage needs to be in the annuities and what percentage needs to be in the stock market. And a lot of that is, it just depends. You know, some people don't want to take a lot of risk. Some people need what we call mailbox money, and other people just really want us to help them think through that. So there really is no one padded answer. What I've found is most people kind of like a little of both, which we can do. Whether you're a long-time viewer of the Worry-Free Retirement or just catching it for the first time, know this: you can watch past episodes and educational clips by visiting our YouTube channel. Just log on to youtube.com and search Tony Walker Financial. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and since we're talking about all these potential blunders with your 401k plan, I thought we would go to our resident expert on 401k rollovers in our Bowling Green office at Tony Walker Financial, Ms. Connie Fortney. Good morning, Connie.
Good morning.
I know you're looking so forward to this, so let's jump right in, all right?
Yep, let's go.
So basically, Connie, you've been with me now over 16 years. Roughly how many 401k rollovers do you think you've personally participated in for our clients at Tony Walker Financial?
Well, I certainly haven't counted them, but it's probably at least hundreds, if not over 1,000. I've done a lot, Tony.
And that is amazing. And, you know, if we go back over time, it used to just be me, you, I think there was another assistant when you first started some 16 years ago. But kind of describe how Tony Walker has evolved as far as an organization and our new business department, and how smoothly it runs for those of you that might be watching this show who are thinking about rolling over a 401k to a firm such as us, the things you need to watch out for, and how easily we can help them with that 401k rollover process.
Well, you're right. We have gained a lot of staff over the years, mainly just to make sure that our customer service is of utmost quality. But some of those new staff members are our new business department. We are now 4 strong in the new business department. And we do an awful lot of 401k rollovers on a daily basis. And we've gotten really good at it. And so we just want to, of course, make sure that they're done accurately. There's such a thing as a direct rollover versus an indirect rollover. The direct rollover means that the money is going from one institution to another, and you know, no taxes involved, that kind of thing. An indirect rollover would be if they actually sent our client a check, and they have about 60 days to do the rollover and write a new check to an institution. But that gets taxes involved and everything else. So we try our best just to always do direct rollovers, assist our clients in those calls, and make sure that everything's done accurately.
Well, great, Connie. We appreciate so much you being with us. I know you need to get back to work there. We got a busy day, but thank you all for all you do for Tony Walker Financial, and of course, all of the clients who are looking to us to help them with those 401k rollovers. You make it a good day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. You too.
You may be wondering about our new technology that allows us to remaster formerly recorded one-liners of my late great father, Dick Walker. You see, growing up as kids in the 60s, me and my brother Marty secretly recorded our father's one-liners, and until recently, never did anything with them until our own Derek Hudson remastered them into these handy-dandy tidbits. These one-liners were actually those spoken by our father on a regular basis, and we're more than proud to bring them to you on each new episode of the Worry-Free Retirement. You know, believe it or not, one of his famous one-liners was this one: "Just slow down." Funny that my father would say that, because of all people, he was the one that always got in a hurry. Let me give you an example. One day while attending Western Kentucky University, I came home to see my dad in the bathroom trying to change out the commode seat. Now keep in mind, Dad was not mechanically inclined, and when working on something, would usually get in a hurry and get very frustrated as a result. So, seeing as though he was struggling to get this commode seat off, I asked him how he was doing. He said he was using a screwdriver and a hammer to try to drive the bolt connecting the commode seat to the commode but to no avail. Seeing his frustration, I simply said, "I don't know, Dad. I think if you hit that bolt one more time, it should come off." So he did, and sure enough, the bolt came off. As we both celebrated this rare mechanical achievement, the porcelain commode began to crack and water began spilling out everywhere. Later that day, I overheard him on the phone describing the incident to a friend when he said,
"Tony just told me to hit it one more time."
And while hopefully you haven't gotten in a hurry changing out a commode seat lid lately, there's a good chance if you're retired or retiring soon, you may get in a hurry when it comes to your 401k plan. And as we will see, when it comes to using, enjoying, and protecting this money in retirement, there's a big difference in getting in a hurry and creating a sense of urgency. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the biggest blunders people make with their 401k and how being in a hurry and not creating a sense of urgency can create a lot of headaches for savers. All right, blunder number one is leaving the 401k at your former employer. Now, folks, I get this. You've been working hard, you trust the 401k custodian, whoever that might be, and you just decide to leave it there. Well, you know what I've discovered over all these years? I think the reason people leave it there, even though they've long retired, is they don't trust anybody. But again, folks, that's no reason to leave your 401k at the former employer. That's no plan whatsoever. Here's the next blunder that I see: rolling it over to the first person you meet. Now, I've got this old saying, it takes 40 years to accumulate your money, and it takes about 40 minutes for somebody to roll it over. We could talk all day long about dinner seminars, and we could talk about the internet and TV commercials. But folks, you have to be very careful about rushing in to these rollovers. Number three, maxing out that 401k to the very end. Now, what do I mean by that? Gosh, there's so many things you can do, but a lot of you don't have a lot of assets outside your 401k plan. You're retired or you're approaching retirement, and what do? You just keep maxing out that thing, and the problem is, number one, you don't have any tax diversification. Number two, most of you don't have any short-term savings built up. And number three, you still might have some debt that you should be attacking prior to retirement. Again, this is something that Tony Walker Financial, we sit down with you to go over before maxing it out too long. Number four, forgetting that a 401k is a savings plan, folks. It is not a retirement plan. You just can't wait till age 72 to start yanking this money out. You've got all kinds of tax issues. You've got all kinds of fees. And of course, if you live too long, you're not going to get to enjoy this money. That's another blunder. The next blunder is you don't even deal with the taxes. You see, folks, buried inside that 401k is something I refer to as a tax tumor. And the problem is the longer you leave it there and the more the account grows with the taxes as well. And keep in mind this, in the year 2026, it's just a few years away, folks, these tax laws will expire. We're at some of the lowest rates we've ever been at. If you put off the pain and don't deal with the taxes now, it could get even worse down the road. What's the other problem with this? The kids are going to inherit the tax as well. Moving on to the next one, thank you, Derek. Putting too much of this at risk. You know, there's an old saying, and it's written in a book by Charles Handy. He said that what got you there may not keep you there. See, many of you have taken some risk with the 401k, and as of the date of this recording on September 15th, 2020, maybe it's up. But you're getting ready to retire, or you're nearing retirement, or maybe you've been retired. Folks, you cannot continue to take risk. You've got to safeguard some of this money, and this is where we can help you with, of course, that beloved mailbox money. And then finally, if there's no sense of urgency. There's a difference between rushing into something, which you should not do, but also realizing good planning requires a sense of urgency. In fact, when I come back, we're going to focus on Live Well, Die Broke, because in that book is my formula for success in creating a worry-free retirement. And at the beginning, at its core, is this idea of creating a sense of urgency to use and enjoy your money before it's too late. I'm going to get the whiteboard out. You stay tuned. I'll be right back. Welcome to our Employee Spotlight, and today's feature will be Miss Heather Hughes, our fiduciary in the Bowling Green office. First of all, Heather, thank you for making the drive with JJ up to our Louisville studios today from Bowling Green.
Glad to do it today.
So briefly, tell the audience a little bit about how you got started at Tony Walker Financial, how long you've been with us, and your role there from doing an income planning specialist role all the way down to the fiduciary.
Oh, sure. Well, joined the firm back in 2006. Hard to believe it's been that long. Started off just helping you kind of develop game plans on the earliest levels. Since then, we went from Excel spreadsheets and building out our own
Big
proprietary
accordion, remember the big accordion
exactly,
spreadsheets? Yeah.
long sheets of paper. And then developing that proprietary software that we've come to love so much, and it's so helpful for clients. Since then, you know, as I learned the business, it really became a passion of mine, and ended up becoming a fiduciary just like you.
And you're that person at the office that's there full time, which is so helpful to us, because many times I'm with clients quite a bit, but tell people the, I guess, surprise they have when we respond so quickly to their questions and the ability to call up the game plan and react to their needs as they change in retirement.
Sure, that's one of the benefits, I think, of having me in the office full time. I know you're meeting with a lot of clients up here in Louisville. When you're in a meeting, you're of course not readily available. They can usually reach me with just a quick phone call. So if they have any questions, especially existing clients, I'm happy to answer those for them, pull up their game plan. If there are any changes we need to make, we're happy to do that. Or if they're even needing to make some decisions, I can help with that.
Well, Heather, obviously I appreciate your work so much at Tony Walker Financial. You've been a great asset, and we look forward to helping many more savers. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tony.
Call me old-fashioned, but I love the fact that my husband takes care of all the finances. But if something happened to him, where would I turn?
The grief associated with losing a spouse is hard enough. Don't make matters worse by not having a written game plan.
Don't leave your future to chance. Get a game plan now with one of the most experienced and trusted names in the business. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. I hope you've enjoyed today's program, and I hope you've realized that there is a difference between getting in a hurry and the problems that can cause, but also creating a sense of urgency and the advantages of doing so. You know, years ago I created this kind of, I guess you'd call it a diagram, but what I've noticed over the years in working with so many savers, in fact, in my first book, The Worry-Free Retirement, I talked about this, is the concept of living your life as if there are three halves. I know that doesn't make sense, but it will when I explain this. So think about a basketball game. In a basketball game, there's the first half, halftime, and the second half. And the strategies change as you go throughout the ball game. Obviously, in the first half, the goal is to try to score as many points as you can, and try not to get behind. But then halftime comes across. The clock stops, you go into the locker room, I used to play a lot of ball, and then the coach tries to re-strategize or think through the second half. Because if you run out of the locker room without a new strategy into the second half, you're probably going to lose. Well, why is that? Because the competition's in their locker room trying to figure out how to beat you. What is the competition? The competition is risk. The competitors are the taxes. Competitors are fees. Competitors are bad health. Competitors are dying sooner than you think. There's all kinds of forces working against you. So let's kind of take a look at this and imagine that you're at this point. First half is generally people in the ages of 25 to 45 or 50. This is the age where you're trying to build wealth. You're trying to provide protection. You're trying to earn a living, trying to pay down debt. Not a lot of retirement planning going on, but we can help you with this, but that's generally not our focus. Our focus kind of begins to turn when somebody gets to what's called halftime. And notice this blue line here is going to start going down. See, the big myth out there, the financial world has told you that you'll have to have more and more money. Well, why do they tell you that? Because they want to invest more and more money so they can make fees and make money on your money. Well, of course, they're not going to want you to spend it. The Worry-Free Retirement and Live Well, Die Broke says, look, when you start getting into the second half of life, that's when you relax. And what I've noticed in working with so many people over all these years is, barring a serious health issue, but basically as people get older into the second half, usually it's after the age of 70 or so, they start spending less. So how do we put a sense of urgency on this, especially if you're approaching or already in the second half? Let's take a look at the whiteboard. And in Live Well, Die Broke, I talk about Tony's timeline. Now, I think this is pretty cool, actually, and I would encourage you to do this. This has really helped me in my own life think about enjoying my money and my life now before it's too late. So you basically would just put your date of birth right here, whatever that is, okay? And then you actually, this is going to sound really strange, then you actually go out to the date of death. Oh, funny story. My wife and I took the measure to go on and get some above ground crypts. You know, those things, those little mausoleum looking things. So we've got those crypts laid out and they've got our names already on it. And it's got our date of births already on there. And of course, since we're alive, it doesn't have our date of deaths. Well, I had a buddy of mine say, hey, Tony, I was taking a walk in that park and I saw you and Susan's crypts over there. That was really weird, and it had your names and all that. And I said, at least it didn't have the date of death. So anyway, so the date of death for me, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I picked age 79. Now here's where this gets really interesting. So if I think about over my life, all right now, I'm 60 years of age. So I've already lived 60 years of my life on planet Earth. You know, my wife and I met her in high school. I was talking about this. She just had a birthday. I said, Susan, I've literally been around in your life 45 years. So if I were to die at age 79, she hates me talking about this stuff, but I said, think about it. I've been with you 45 years, but we only have about 19 years left. And here's the real problem. We don't know what this next 19 years is going to be like. You're probably sitting there saying, man, Tony, you're a lot of fun to hang around. But hey, you got to be realistic, because this is about using and enjoying your money. So this is why I'm doing things like gifting money to my kids now. This is why I spend a lot of time in my business. You know where a lot of guys are at and gals are at my stage in life at this bit, they're out racing cars or doing golfing all the time. Man, I'm looking at this and I'm grateful that I have the ability to work. I love seeing all these people. I had almost 20 appointments just yesterday. And you say, why are you doing all that, Tony? Do you do it for the money? It's not about the money at this point. It's about seeing how many people we can help and how many savers we can help worry less about money. So I would challenge you, and sincerely ask you, I'd challenge you to put yourself on a timeline, pick an age out there, and I guarantee your perspective about money and life will start changing dramatically. And actually, if you take a realistic snapshot about this, you'll start fearing the future less. It's a strange thing that happens. You're not going to fear the future more. You'll start fearing it less because you'll realize time's a-wasting. Well, you know, what does the Bible have to say about all this timing and trying to figure out how long you're going to live and worry? Well, there's an interesting verse of Scripture from the Apostle Paul, and it's going to kind of amaze you of what he was really worried about with his fellow Christian friends. We're going to cover that in just a second. I got to get me a cup of coffee. You're watching the Worry-Free Retirement. I'll be right back. Whether you're a long-time viewer of the Worry-Free Retirement or just catching it for the first time, know this: you can watch past episodes and educational clips by visiting our YouTube channel. Just log on to youtube.com and search Tony Walker Financial. One thing being in a hurry can produce is mistakes. And those very mistakes, or the fear of making them, can produce worry. And while we can't always avoid making mistakes, one thing we can do to help is simply slow down. So why am I spending some time today on the notion of slowing down? Because I don't want you to create for yourselves unnecessary worry, and guess what? Neither does God. Take a look at the burden the Apostle Paul had for people in 1 Corinthians 7:32, where he simply says, "But I want you to be free from concern." Now, why in the world would Paul have as his main concern our being concerned? I think it was this. Paul knew that people would concern themselves with the things of the world by getting in a hurry and rushing along the things of God. That's because as humans, we tend to be impatient and get in a hurry. We want things done now, and we want them done quickly. But since God is God and not human, He is under no timetable. That's because His timetable is forever. It's infinite. The Creator of the universe doesn't look at time the way we do because He's God. He can do whatever He wants, whenever He wants. But we, since we're human and have limited time on earth, tend to get in a hurry because time is of the essence. And as we've seen today, our getting in a hurry can lead to disastrous results. In fact, our desire to have more now, to enjoy things now, and not miss out on things now may lead to some obsessive behavior instead of slowing down to smell the roses. The world knows this. That's why people play on our fears and doubts by talking us into doing things in a hurry, regardless of whether their suggestions to rush into their ideas and products are in our best interest. This worldly obsession of following the world's timetable can lead to us losing our way with our money, and worse yet, losing our faith in God. Check out Paul's admonition to Timothy in 1 Timothy 6:10, where he says, "For the love of money is a root of all sorts of evil, and some by longing for it, I would say some by worrying over it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many a pang." You know why I close out each segment with a Bible verse? Because like Paul, I don't like to see people worry, especially over their money. And like God, I don't want to see money get in the way of your relationship with Him. This money, folks, it's a temporary walk, a temporary journey, and this money is temporary. The Live Well, Die Broke philosophy acknowledges this. It acknowledges that our relationship to the world is temporary, but the good news, our relationship to God is forever. Maybe that's you. You're worried and worked up about things that you have very little control over. Well, this worry over things that really don't matter has allowed you to maybe drift away from the things that do, the love and mercy that God provides you and I. Might I encourage you to create a sense of urgency, maybe not about your money, but about your very soul. You know, your money's going to die with you. We all die broke. You can't take this stuff with you. But your heart, your soul, your spirit, by the grace of God, those will live on forever. And my friend, that is something you can certainly take to the bank. Well, how about you? Are you feeling like the financial world is kind of rushing you along in these decisions with no game plan in sight? Do you feel that you need to slow down, but also create a sense of urgency when it comes to using and enjoying your money while you still can? Well, let me suggest this. Let's set up a time, either by phone or in person, to simply talk. You know, for more than 36 years, I've made it my life's mission to meet in person with over 15,000 savers. My goal in life is to simply help savers worry less about money, and I'd like the opportunity to help you too. So do this. Log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. And when you go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, just click on that Let's Get Started button, and that information will be confidentially sent to our offices, and we will contact you right away. Again, we can talk by phone or meet in person at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Do it now, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, or call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, we're going to continue on with this idea of getting in a hurry. And you know what we're going to talk about? Many people I see getting in a hurry, purchasing investment products, especially this one product called an annuity. Good stuff coming your way next week. But between now and then, if all else fails, you remember to be worry-free. Make it a good one.